Hello lovely people, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are all well. I've had a very stressful 10 minutes when I've just been trying to rush for a show today before I go home. It's been a lot. I've got a ticket. It's not rushed because I decided to treat myself an extra £20 and get some good leg room for the show I'm seeing. But enough of me and my rushed stories. Let's get into this video. This is the review for, I still haven't remembered it, The Unlikely Pilgrimage of Harold Fry. So if you want to know my thoughts and feelings on this show, stick around and we're going to get into it in 2 whole seconds. So yes, we are back with another review. Why am I doing that? Let's get into it. For every show that I see, I like to do 2 separate videos. Time and willing permitted. Willing being a big point. This is the second of those 2 videos. The first one was the last video. The last video was the nervous guide. The nervous guide is everything you need to know about the show before you go in. So that is things like, help brain please, sensory and content warnings, information about the theatre, information about what my view from my seat looked like, or the comfortableness of my seat. Not as helpful as seat plan, which I need to get back into, but it's still there. Merchandise available, and anything basically which can help if you're a little bit nervous about going to see a show, because it happens. It's okay, we're all human. The second of the 2 videos is this one. This is the review. Review is always put in inverted commas because at the end of the day I'm no way professional. I just like watching theatre and talking about it, and sometimes, like currently, I go and see shows alone, and when you go alone you haven't got that person after the show to talk through your thoughts, your feelings and everything, so I put them on the internet. Ta-da! So like I said, today we're talking about The Unlikely Pilgrimage of Harold Fry. Nearly remembered it correctly then. This show is based on a novel of the same name by Rachel Joyce. Rachel Joyce is also the book writer for this show. I basically decided to come and see this again, like with the last show that I watched this afternoon, or in the afternoon, which was Ballad Lines. I was drawn in again by word of mouth and reviews. It has been reviewing really well, and I've also heard great things from various other people, and occasionally have been flooded some more adverts. It's like my algorithm knows who I am. So like I said, this show, the book of this show is written by the woman who wrote the book initially, which is Rachel Joyce, and the music and lyrics for the show are by the artist Passenger. This show follows the central character of, unsurprisingly, Harold Fry, a normal individual, a man who is retired, who is just going day to day, not really doing much, and one day he receives a letter from a dying friend, so he decides to write back. He then says, oh, I'm going to go and post it. He walks to the post box, and then he keeps walking and keeps walking and keeps walking until he embarks on this journey to see that friend. However, the walk is from Devon all the way up to the north to Berwick-upon-Tweed, and it tells the story throughout the show of his walk. Whilst he walks, he encounters other people with different stories, He kind of takes on those stories, and yeah, the show very much shows and talks about and is all about how one small thing done by one person can make a really big impact. And it's a really nice story to have and to tell, and it is done really nicely through both humour and heartbreak and hope and grief. Alongside that, whilst Harold is on his walk, there is also kind of the side-esque story of his wife Maureen, who is at home and stays very much at home, doesn't really do a lot, and how what has happened to both of them previously kind of has shifted and changed both of them individually. Yeah, I don't want to spoil too much if you don't know the story like I didn't even, but it's a really nice story. Creatively, I wanted to shout out a few people. Firstly, the choreography, which has been done by Tom Jackson-Greaves. I really enjoyed it. There is quite a lot of movement throughout the show. There is also, and we all know how much I like this, there is also a tap moment. If you put a tap little moment in a show, for me, you've got a star for me straight off. I love a bit of tap, and the reason that tap is done is also just absolutely excellent. The song that it is involved in is just, it was an enjoyable moment in the show. It was one of the light-hearted moments. It was great. The direction has been done by Katie Rudd. Again, direction and choreo together, excellent. The way the whole show flowed was really good. It wasn't stunted, it just like moved through the motions and was just so like lovely and flowy and excellent. So I want to mention that. Video design, there isn't a lot, and it is mostly from projections on the back wall, but I really enjoyed them. They have been done by Ash J. Woodward, and yeah, like I said, it's not a lot. When it is used beautifully. It's kind of like, I don't know how to explain it, but it was just really nice. And at one moment, it's just excellent, and I wanted to mention it. And the final creative thing I wanted to talk about was the illusions, which are done by Chris Fisher, a person and a name that I know well from previous projects he has done. The use of clothing and such to create people and movement that are just like, oh, I loved it. So beautiful. Like, aesthetically, this show is stunning, and it has moments of silliness, but it's just melded together so nicely. Moving on, let's get into the cast. The cast for the show, again, are excellent. There are a few familiar faces in there, there are some new faces, and wholeheartedly I can say the cast are stunning. A few people I want to mention, obviously the lead character of Harold Fry, which has been played by Mark Adey. Mark tells the story of Harold so well, alongside his wife Maureen, who is played by Jenna Russell. Their stories, both together and separate, are great, and it's always a pleasure to see Jenna on a stage. Character I really enjoyed, and I like the complexity of it in a way, is the role of Balladeer, who is Noah Mullins. Balladeer, and I'm going to keep it vague and not say a lot, but just mention again, it's quite a complex one. He is one of the first people you see in Act 1, and you can kind of work out what is going on throughout the show, but it is an excellent character and it is done brilliantly by Noah. This is actually Noah's West End debut, and I'm excited to see what comes in the future for this actor. I also wrote in my book, he gave Orpheus vibes. I couldn't fully, I don't know if it was the guitar moments or just the mannerisms, I don't know, but very much I would happily see Noah as Orpheus in the future in Hadestown, just shouting it out. Another character I enjoyed, or a range of characters, because the person behind those characters is one of my favourite human beings in the whole wide world. Jenna Boyd plays Sister Philomena, the farmer's wife, Rita, and also Ensemble. I love a bit of Jenna in my life. She's a great human being. And it was really nice to see Jenna on a stage again. A few other mentions that I've written down include The Garage Girl, which has been done by Nicole Nyarambi. Hopefully I pronounced that name correctly. Apologies if I haven't. You meet Garage Girl quite early into Act 1. She has a phenomenal song in Act 1. The costumes involved, excellent. And then you also see her in Act 2 because of something that happens throughout the second act. And I just really enjoyed seeing Nicole take on the roles. Wanted to mention the actual role of Queenie, who is Maggie Service. Maggie also takes on a few other roles throughout the show, including a gorilla, because why not? It was really interesting watching the flashback moments and seeing what happened between Harold and Queenie through their meetings and their existence together. And it very much linked you to Queenie throughout the show, even though she isn't, in the grand scheme of things, a big part of the show. But you still felt almost linked to her throughout everything. It was just, I loved it. And the final person I wanted to mention is Timo Tachba. Hopefully I butchered that name, I truly do apologise. Who plays, amongst others, the role of Dog and young Harold. I love having a puppet on a stage. It just makes me really happy. And Timo is in charge of Dog and is also puppet captain, so anything puppetry, he's usually somewhere in the midst. Yeah, watching, I don't know what it is about the dog puppet and the character of Dog, but whenever he was on stage, just made me I was drawn to that little thing so much, to the point that at one point he's just licking himself. The few people, most people were watching the rest of the thing, there's a few people like me who were watching that dog, and the giggles that came about when he just started licking itself, brilliant. I have seen, since seeing this show, that in the book itself the dog is in it a lot more, and that they'd like to see more of the dog. I haven't read the book or seen the film that has also been, but I did really enjoy what they did with the dog, and that Timo did it brilliantly. Like I said, the entire cast are incredible and so hardworking, telling this really lovely story. It's very much, like I said with the ballad lines, this is a show of two halves. You get engrossed and get pulled in by Act 1. You laugh, you feel warmth, and then Act 2 comes around and you feel, oh okay, this is going to be more of the same. And as Act 2 goes on, it snowballs and snowballs and snowballs, and then bam, you are punched in the face. Again, like with ballad lines, for the second half of Act 2 I was very much on the verge of tears, in tears, or at one point I couldn't breathe. I'm an emotional person, and I was saying to my friend that it's very much, you are watching good theatre and that it is a good show if it has got you to that point, it's got you in the chokehold, it's got you sobbing. That's just excellent storytelling at its best. You know it's done its job when you're crying and you can't breathe and you've got mascara going down your face and you've got to walk through Leicester Square on a Saturday evening to try and get a tube back to your accommodation. But yeah, it is such a joy of a show. It is closing on the 18th of April, so you haven't got long left to watch it, but I would recommend it. It is such a beautiful little show with a lot of heart and a great cast. And there we go, I have completed it. I have got a small amount of porridge left to eat, and then I'm going to go on my merry way into London town, and I'm going to see a show this afternoon. Whether I will review it or not is a different matter, because I have previously seen the show last year, and there is a few things on its horizon that are about to change. If you know what I'm talking about, then yeah. If you know, you know. If you don't, then I shall silence myself. But that's enough of me. I'm going to round this up and say thank you very much for watching. I hope you come back next time for more theatre-based conversations and chats. But all that's left to say as usual, which is that I love you all lots. I hope you come back. And finally, so long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, and goodbye. Bye everyone.